Did medieval merchants use usury for profit? Imagine a bustling medieval marketplace where merchants haggle over goods and money changes hands in countless ways. But behind the scenes, a question lingers. Did these merchants lend money at interest to make a profit? To answer that, we need to understand what usury meant back then. Usury was charging interest on loans, especially when that interest was seen as excessive or unfair. The Catholic Church, which held great influence over medieval Europe, strictly forbade Christians from lending money at interest to fellow Christians. They called this practice sinful and morally wrong. Even with this ban, merchants still needed money to grow their businesses. They had to buy goods, pay for transportation, or cover expenses while waiting for sales to come in. The demand for credit was high, but the church's rules made it tricky for Christians to lend money openly at interest. So, merchants and bankers got creative. They developed complex contracts and financial tools that technically avoided directly charging interest. For example, they used bills of exchange, which were like promises to pay later, or they sold goods on credit with a hidden extra charge built into the price. These methods let merchants profit from lending without openly breaking church laws. However, these workarounds were not free. They often involved extra costs, legal risks, and required careful record-keeping. Wealthier merchants who had more resources and connections could afford these costs and navigate the tricky legal landscape more easily. Smaller traders, on the other hand, might have found it harder to do so. Many merchants tried to follow the church's rules outwardly, even if they secretly profited from interest-like charges. The moral teachings of the church weighed heavily on their decisions, and they often sought to appear compliant to protect their reputation and avoid punishment. In some regions, Jewish communities played a special role. Since they were not bound by the church's laws, Jewish moneylenders could lend at interest freely. This made them important players in the economy, especially for merchants who needed quick access to credit. Their involvement sometimes caused social tensions, but it also helped keep the flow of money moving in medieval towns and cities. Over time, the strictness of the usury ban varied. Early in the Middle Ages, enforcement was more relaxed, but as trade grew and the economy expanded, the church tried to tighten controls. During the later medieval period, especially during the Commercial Revolution, authorities expelled many foreign moneylenders, particularly Usury, who were known for their banking skills. This reflected growing concerns about the moral and social effects of a credit-based economy. So, in summary, medieval merchants did seek to make money from lending, but they had to do it carefully. They used legal tricks and financial tools to work around the church's prohibition on usury. Their need for credit pushed them to find ways to profit without openly violating religious rules. This created a complex system where lending was essential for trade and growth, but it also had to be done within the moral and legal boundaries of the time.